I'm going to call this meeting to order, and we're going to add to new business. We have 2 errors and omissions forms from the listers. And with that, we have the minutes from November 2nd.
I'd like to move that we approve the minutes of the meeting of November the 2nd.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain.
Okay. We have warrants 10 and 10P.
I'll make a motion to approve bills for payment warrants 10 and 10P.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? Warrant 10 is for $27,825.26. And some of the things that it's going towards are our monthly rescue bill, the last payment to Belco for the Camp Arden Road project, fuel, health insurance, payroll transfers, and some ARPA disbursements, I guess we'd call them. So, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let's see. Want to hold off on ARPA funding, and we'll go into, we have our hazard mitigation plan update and community resilience meeting. And you want to introduce yourself and take it away.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Alyssa Sabetto. I am a senior planner at the Wyndham Regional Commission, and I'm here to work with Dummerston on the update of your local hazard mitigation plan. Your last local hazard mitigation plan was adopted in December of 2017. They are required to be updated every 5 years. So your current plan will expire at the end of this year. And so we are in the midst of updating it now, starting out with this process. And so I have passed around an agenda to organize my presentation tonight. So the first thing that I wanted to touch on is the purpose of the update and the plan. So the hazard mitigation plan is a comprehensive view of the town and all of the natural hazards facing the town. It's an opportunity to discuss those hazards and to generally choose several hazards to focus on and mitigate for. And what mitigation is doing proactive things to lessen the vulnerability when future hazards occur in your town. So that's a very brief overview of the purpose of the plan. The plan is a FEMA approved document that is required to adhere to a number of it's a checklist that has a number of requirements that the plan has to pass through in order to be deemed FEMA compliant, and then it's approved, and it allows, once you have an approved plan, you have access to FEMA grant funding through a couple of grant funding sources that they have, and it also is one of the base components, of the Emergency Relief Assistance Fund in Vermont, which is the fund that provides some state match after federal declarations that Dummerston would be a part of. So FEMA provides 75% match generally after federal declaration, and on top of that, the state provides a 12.5% match to those towns that meet 4 base criteria. The hazard mitigation plan, having adopted the latest town road and bridge standards, being a member in good standing in the National Flood Insurance Program, and having a local emergency management plan that's up to date every year. So without those 4, even one of those 4, your match goes down to 7.5% from the state. And you could also include river corridor regulations in your flood hazard regulations and increase the match from 12.5 to 17.5, or you can join the community rating system which is enhanced flood standards, and also get that 17.5% that way. So that's a overview of the reasoning and what it is. The process of doing it is, so you have your plan from 2017. So what this process is an update of that plan. It's not an entire re-rate, and it's an abbreviated process because it is an update. So we're going to review the hazards that we're focused on there, see if that's what the town wants to do, or if there's other things that the town wants to focus on. And that's what the focus is of tonight's meeting, and then we'll be meeting again on December 13th. We're having a Zoom meeting, which is the primary meeting for discussing the mitigation actions and whatever else we have to complete the public input for the update process. So it'll be kind of between these two meetings that will provide the input for it, along with the completion of that mitigation actions table. So that's a table that is all of the actions from your prior plan. I'm just going to pull it up real quick.
Okay, and to help us with this, we've got our two emergency management directors,
Yep.
Lewis White and Marty Ferret, and we have our road foreman, Lee Chamberlain.
Yeah, I did ask them to be here tonight, so thank you guys for doing that. They're generally on top of these kind of matters. So this is the mitigation action tracker tool. So these actions here on the left are what you had developed in your prior plan. There's 18 actions. And then there's listed a responsible party for each one, what you had planned at that time frame for completion, what your expected funding source was, and the priority on that. So this is just looking to say, did you begin it? What's the current status? What's your projected time frame completion now, and the goal of that? And then if there's any notes or difficulties. It doesn't matter, FEMA doesn't grade whether or not you completed the actions, but we do have to provide a status update on every one of them. And it also would, for actions that haven't been completed, we want to note whether you're interested in continuing on with having that action listed, or if you didn't want to include that in your current update, and we would just need to provide an explanation as to why. So that's kind of a separate thing for the town to do at some point to feed into this process. I can assist with it if needed. Generally, towns complete them and just kind of send them back to me, and I roll this information into the update. So the process then, aside from that, in doing this, is I would we'll have the meetings, I gather the information, I draft, the update, do update plan verbiage-wise, and do all the FEMA checkbox kind of, make sure it's all meeting all of those requirements, and then would submit a draft for internal town comment, and that's an opportunity for you all and others that are actively involved in the town workings to review the plan in advance of public viewing and comment. So that we'd have a couple of weeks for that. I would address comments, and then it would go out for public comment. And then following the public comment period, the comments being addressed from that, then it goes up for a preliminary approval, which can be done at the state level on FEMA's behalf. And then once that's preliminarily approved, and there may be some back and forth to get any issues they had addressed so that it's deemed compliant, then after it's approved, pre-approved, then it would go to the town for adoption. And then after it's adopted, it would go up again and then be sent to FEMA for final approval, which would set that 5-year time clock again. So once it's submitted to the state even before it's deemed compliant, once it's submitted to the state, that's when your ERAF checkbox gets marked again. So if there was any type of declaration that you were a part of in advance, after your plan expires in December, and then you say there was a declaration in January and we didn't have the plan submitted, yeah, I would just submit the draft up. I'd just get it fine enough, submit it up, and at least you're getting your ERAF. So you wouldn't have to worry about that even after your plan expires for that interim time frame. And that, yeah, that's pretty much it. So just basically, your participation is very important and appreciated at this point, and then just any time you can take to review the draft once it's out will be really appreciated.
You were using an acronym just now. They check off the ERAP or something?
Yeah, that's that Emergency Relief Assistance Fund that I
Okay,
mentioned. Yeah, it's that one. Yeah. That's that state match. So that's the process. So now, I mean, I think mostly what I'm here to discuss is the hazards. So just, I want to take a look at the map that I brought, but in addition to that, what I did was, so this is the current table of hazards. So what I did was pre-fill out for the hazards that we reviewed at your last plan. I pre-filled out this ranking. And the highlighted hazards are the two hazards that your current plan addresses, which is inundation, flooding, and invasive species. And that's insects and plants are encompassed in that. Now, the only hazard that, ironically, wasn't addressed in your past plan, but is a natural hazard that we do need to rank is infectious disease outbreak or pandemic, which we have experienced and are
Turned out to be a 5.
still experiencing. So this was the prior one that we went through, and so you'll see that there are many more hazards that we actually reviewed in your last plan. However, some of these hazards, this has kind of been clarified since this time. So some of these hazards are not natural hazards, so they've been removed, and some of them are, kind of subcategories of hazards, and so they are not addressed specifically anymore. So it's a simpler thing now than it was, but yeah, so that's kind of why it's different. But trying to think. Do you have internet? Do you have Wi-Fi here?
Yes, but I don't remember the password. Wait a minute, do I have it?
Should have gotten on before. I'm just trying to think about.
No, I don't have it with me. You guys have it on your...
I think you need the password.
No, I don't think you
It's an
do.
unsecure
Actually, you don't.
network, Yeah.
Because it's a hotspot.
So what is it? A
Dummerston hotspot.
There you go.
So if you would just give me a minute, but so what I want to do, and we can do this we could move over to the map too, but actually I think it might, yeah, never mind, I don't even need it because I can pull it out of your current plan. Where is it here? So let me just see. So this is your current plan. And it's on our website, but there's, kind of a town profile. It talks about the process that we went through. Here's the beginning of the risk assessment. So I just wanted to pull up what these 1 through 4 means. So let's see. So for potential impact, so if you take a look here, we just really need to identify the pandemic. So for potential impact, it's either negligible, minor, moderate, or major. So, and that's 1 through 4, with 4 being the highest major impact. So what that means, negligible, isolated occurrences of minor property damage or injury, isolated occurrence, let's see, brief disruption, isolated occurrences, and potential for injury. Moderate would be severe damage to property. And so I guess in terms of pandemic, when you're thinking of impact, you're thinking more of, well, this is severe damage on a town-wide or regional scale, shut down of critical facilities and or multiple injuries or fatalities. So for potential impact, pandemic was probably a 4.
Yeah.
You would agree with that?
Yeah.
A major impact. Okay. And then for warning time, so for warning time, more than 12 hours is 1, and 6 to 12 is 2, 3 to 6 hours is 3, and none to minimal is 4. I think for warning time, we probably had more than 12 hours.
Yeah.
We knew when things were hitting elsewhere in the globe. Alright, so that's probably, so then for probability. So probability of occurrence, that would be an expected occurrence, really in any given year. So 1 being unlikely, 2 occasional, and unlikely is less than 1%, occasional 1 to 10% probability per year, 3 likely greater than 10%, but less than 100, and highly likely would be 100% probable. So what would you rank pandemic?
Well, at this point, it's 100. It's 100.
Yeah.
We're in 3, what, year 3? Technically? Almost.
20, yeah.
Yeah.
In year 3 of it, yeah. I guess I would say, looking at it, you wouldn't want to look at this hazard specific to this event. You would probably look at pandemics in a more general fashion.
In that
And we
case,
can
it would be-
obviously discuss COVID-19 and the impacts to Dummerston, and we can address that head on. And the lessons learned and the mitigation that has come from that, and going forward, what you would have learned and would do different, or now do, I guess, based on what you've learned. But in any case, in pandemic generally, what would you rank that?
1.
1, yeah. I mean,
They don't come along very often.
yeah, like
Yeah.
generally about once in 100 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Is what they say. Okay. So, all right. So that gives it a score of 6. So let me just re-rank these. So now you can see with all of the hazards addressed. So this is where invasive species comes up, inundation, flooding. I guess a question for you guys is, what would you like your plan to continue to focus on inundation, flooding, and invasive species, or would you like to address additional hazards or take away anything, or what are you thinking?
Fine, for sure.
Which
It's
is
still there.
yeah. What's interesting to me on this is that fluvial erosion ranks low. Do you still Is that still, does this, I guess, and also in looking at this, does this still ring true, or is there changes you would like to make in your scoring from your prior plan?
Well, we're getting better all the time, but as far as the flooding, but I think it's still the number one thing
Right, we seem to
we have
have
to worry about.
more intense storms resulting in flooding, so it seems like that might have moved up.
Yeah.
Flooding moves up?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. So, in terms of, so you've ranked it for a 4. Warning time probably hasn't changed though, but what about, so impact you ranked a 3. The only moving up we could do is to make it into a 4. So for potential impact, that would mean severe property damage on a townwide or regional scale, shutdown of critical facilities, or multiple injuries or fatalities. Whereas 3, which is you ranked it now, would be severe property damage on a neighborhood scale, temporary shutdown of critical facilities, and/or injuries or fatalities.
That's 3 still, I think,
Yeah.
where we're at. But that seems to be where we're flooding.
Flooding seems to be the one you're
Yeah.
most concerned about and continue to be. Right? Is that,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'd say the same with the invasive species, wouldn't you? I mean, we're still have issues? I mean, I don't know.
Right, I don't think they're going to go away.
Well, they're not going away, and we're adding to, those were the 2 that were the highlighted on our old plan, right?
yeah.
Yes.
I don't see, is would we classify invasive species the same level as inundation flooding? See,
I don't know.
I know.
I don't, not in my mind.
no.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it could be, I mean, when you're looking at these hazards, you have to look at these in terms of, the hazard itself. I don't know if that is a good way of saying it, but for what that hazard is.
Yeah, the impact is
Yeah.
a 3,
Yeah,
and is it really?
would you
A
say
3.
more, like a 2?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Maybe because of the emerald ash borer was just coming out when we did this plan last time.
Yeah.
Maybe there was something of that thought process.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but
Okay,
I agree with him.
okay. But the probability is probably a 4, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's there.
So, okay, so we'll lower this to a 2. Alright, and I'm gonna highlight this just as a difference, and I'll set this. Okay. Is there any other changes that you would like to make to this table? And does lowering the ranking still mean that you want to focus on invasive species? I think last time the Conservation Commission was really involved, and I think we should definitely make an invite to the Conservation Commission because they were involved prior. But I think that's probably why invasive species got
Ranked so high.
ranked high. Yeah. But they did have a lot of actions, and they had a good idea of what they wanted to do. So does that seem good?
Yeah.
And is fluvial erosion still less of an issue for you guys than flooding?
Go over one more time what that is.
What fluvial erosion is?
Yeah.
Fluvial erosion is the damage caused by the erosive force of moving floodwaters. So it's not like rising floodwaters that are just inundating everything and then receding. It's like the flood's coming, it's rushing, it's eroding the banks, it's ripping out the trees, it's
That's washing out culverts.
Yep, it's the
Washing out
erosive
roads.
damage of moving, fast moving floodwaters.
Well, we had that in the
Yeah.
last
Right.
storm.
We did.
Pretty badly, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I And what we can do is it might help to look at the map too. If you want to think about this and then move over and we can take a look at the map and talk about where issues have occurred. Maybe that would help you kind of determine if you wanted to change that. Another one I would think about, just to consider a little bit more is drought or heat. And I mean, we don't need to focus on them, but if you wanted to note anything, if there are rising concerns or things that you think in the near future would be of concern. I know they're getting, more press lately with high heat planning becoming an issue and or push with the Vermont Health Department and that kind of thing.
The number of 90-degree days has gone up significantly in the last 5 years. Actually.
So probability on the flooding, all right, we already have 3 there. Or no?
Are you saying for,
The erosion or the flooding?
Right.
so this would be 100% probable, is it 100% you'll get fluvial erosion damage in a year? Guaranteed.
No, just never, no.
And what about potential impact? So potential impact, just to remind you,
Yeah.
that would be, 1 is negligible, isolated occurrences of minor property damage, minor disruption.
Or if you're talking the actual flood where it's washing things.
I'm talking about the erosion resulting from that flood. And I guess the flood too.
Yeah. I think we could go to a 2 or a 3 maybe. I'm just thinking of Schoolhouse Road.
Yeah.
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 let's-
Or
yeah,
could
I
take a
bumped
house.
that up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take it out, sorry.
Yeah.
Even though, you've improved the infrastructure to
Right.
handle flooding, but still,
It's there.
it's still there.
It's still there.
Okay, so, and would the infrastructure improvements that you've made be addressed in the hazard mitigation actions table?
I think some of them were on that
Okay.
chart.
If they're not, I would just like to note, if you've done any big projects or, and just.
Yeah, I brought the sheet and everything.
Oh, awesome.
They're all ranked.
Oh, nice, okay.
And it shows which ones you done when they're done.
Oh, okay, you have something like that with you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice, oh, thanks, Lily, good job. Okay, so did you wanna change this ranking then to a 2 or a 3?
Yeah, I would say almost a 3.
A 3?
It's almost-
So that moves that one up to a 7. Did you wanna add fluvial erosion to this yellow? Wanna add it as a new focus?
Yeah, I think it's pretty important.
Okay. Alright, it's pretty easy to add that one because we can still focus on it within the flooding section. Okay. Is that, anything else you wanted to do, or do you wanna move over and look at the map now? Any other changes you wanna make there? And I can kind of explain why, they already are explained why we're not addressing these. Basically, if you don't have actions to mitigate them, a comprehensive range of mitigation actions, meaning infrastructure-based actions, environmental actions, policy-based actions, the plan will not be deemed compliant by FEMA. So whatever hazards you're choosing to focus on, you have to actually have mitigation actions to meet those hazards. So that's why we don't focus on everything, or, but that's why the towns kind of choose what they're gonna do.
Okay.
Does that seem,
Makes sense.
Yep, that makes sense.
this is good to you?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, let's take a look over here. And this, I want you to be able to mark it, you know. So if you want to mark, maybe Lee, if you can mark like where are you talking about, where your big erosion, you know, if you want to.
As far as stream bank erosion, East Village, right along, look here. This right in that area. And there's a few houses right along between Schoolhouse Road and
This is,
as far
is
as
this your worst area of
yes.
field erosion?
as far as affecting houses.
Okay. Affecting 3 houses? No?
Let's see, pretty much one, and maybe a garage or another. As far as the fast moving water, I believe that's about it.
That's the worst of it.
Yeah, that's the worst. For sure.
What about flooding along the West River and in these homes and buildings? How much of an issue is that?
No, I don't believe we've had
Not with
any
the dams.
issues.
No, we haven't had.
No,
You feel that the flood control dams upstream are protecting?
yeah, and even with Irene, there was no issues with those down through there.
Wow.
The house to evacuate, there's one house on the end of Old Ferry Road that tends to maybe get a little flooding.
Okay.
There's very few houses in the floodplain in
Yeah.
Dummerston. Very few.
Yeah, there's not as much, I'm looking here, I mean, compared to other towns,
Right.
there isn't as much connection between rivers and roads as some of the towns.
Right, or houses that are close to the rivers.
Yeah, I mean, usually, you know, there's just like, they're running right along, you know.
Right,
So-
right. We do have, structures that are,
Yeah,
not adequate.
yeah, you mean like bridges and culverts and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like, I think these rank, the condition of them. So, some of them,
Oh, that's the
Yeah.
culvert on this.
so what else? Anything else? What about,
So in Slab Hollow, there are a couple houses that are, had the banks for that July.
Oh, that next house down too.
my God.
Maybe, all right, so 2.5, 2 houses in the garage maybe.
Yeah, I think that'd be more accurate.
can you,
I gotta remove down behind that.
can you mark where that is?
Yeah, it's just a little further down the stream. Well, it's in that same area. It's before that large structure there. Yeah.
Put these in the plan.
Oh, okay.
Makes it fun to see yourselves. What else? How about any noted areas of invasive species concern? Any
Oh,
Ash.
West River, there's knotweed,
let it not, okay.
yeah. Garlic mustard along the roadways. There's concern about emerald ash borer
Mhm.
along the roads.
Where do you have a lot of ash trees along the roads? Have you been in contact with GMP or anything about any of the ash stuff?
Yeah, I did check with them.
What's
it's funny because they just took away the, now in the bills, they aren't, in your electric bill, they aren't taking money out now.
Oh, they're not? They're not?
No, they just stopped it,
Oh,
like 2 months ago.
why?
That's kind of why I wanted to ask them the same thing. I asked them what that money actually goes towards,
Yeah.
and it's not to help us cut trees, but that way.
I think the Conservation Commission has done inventory.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
check.
it's been a partial inventory,
Okay.
and that was done quite a while ago.
And I might have note of that, but I'll check with them. Okay.
But they did say they're gonna come, it's just a matter of time.
Till it's a bigger threat for this area, or till there's more. Yeah, I know they're prioritizing the towns that are already hit.
Yes.
There's no spotted lanternfly yet. That's
Not that I've seen, no.
No.
Okay. Okay. Anything else to note of hazards or anything?
No, you just wanna go over the structures now that we're gonna replace, or are we
let me
gonna?
Yeah, let me see what you have. And oh wow, okay. All right. We might have to have a phone conversation.
On that?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I was just wondering on that sheet you're gonna give us, I take it, that we're supposed to fill out ourselves? Or do you want us just to add them on the bottom and then cross off the ones that are done type of thing?
If they're not listed on there, you mean?
Yeah,
If they're not listed on there, but you have like 20 of them, if you have this as an Excel sheet or somehow,
that's what that is.
yeah, then you can just email me that, or I don't know,
Okay.
or you and I will figure it out.
Okay.
Whatever is easy.
Okay, because a lot of those we've done, or I can't say a lot of them, but some of them we've done. And some of them are, I noticed the Leonard Road one said it was going to be done, or no, the Stickney Brook Road one this year, but we're applying for the grant this year.
Okay.
So hopefully next year.
All right, we would just note that okay, but this is great, and we'll, yeah, I want to get into some detail with you on it.
Okay.
Separately, but. So is there anything else that I should know about that? Anything new, or any occurrences in the last 5 years that you've had significant flooding or fluvial erosion damage? You guys did have that railroad thing. Didn't you have the railroad have
There's a
some,
culvert that washed out
and then the railroad had
along the
issues?
railroad.
Yeah.
On the Connecticut River.
Yeah. Where was that on here? Can you?
I didn't
It
know.
was along the river.
Yeah, it does follow the river pretty much
Yeah.
all the way along.
So where did it get damaged, or what?
I'm.
You remember, Louis?
Yeah.
I thought it was right up near Putney, wasn't it?
Fine.
Yeah,
Way up.
Yeah.
So yeah, right in this area.
Okay.
And
So
if it was right along the river, I would say it would have been.
so you guys didn't get any dealings with that?
No.
Okay. What about, and that was a pretty major storm. Was that December storm?
Oh yeah, it could have been.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we had that one at Christmas,
Yes. Yeah.
and then
Is there any specific damages or incidents that you want to note about that happened in the last 5 years from flooding or fluvial erosion?
well, we can, yes, on some of those structures.
Okay, on
That's
the
where-
structures.
Yeah, that's where all on those.
Okay.
It's pretty much everywhere that was
So the
what
damages
caused it.
you've experienced are primarily just to culverts and such.
Yeah, large.
Okay. All right. So no structures have been damaged or anything like that in the last 5 years.
Oh, no. Well, like FEMA replaced one. This just.
Well, no,
just
I
got
mean,
really-
when I say structure, I mean houses.
Oh,
Oh, no.
Nothing. Yeah, sorry, I know that
Yeah.
structure to you is a different, yes. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll go over that.
Yeah.
You and I will have a conversation.
Okay.
But if that's all you have, then that's most, okay.
Yeah, we're really fortunate now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just, I think maybe if I need 5 or 10 more minutes,
Yeah.
if that works. I just want to call up for you your, your mitigation goals. Sorry, it's going to take me a second to find them. So these are your, let's see. So these right here, I'm gonna make it bigger. These are the goals that are listed in your plan. They're very generic. But if you want to just take a moment to read these bulleted items. Was there any, one of the questions for a plan update is whether these mitigation goals are still the goals that the town has, or if there's anything you'd like to add to this list of goals or change to make them more relevant for your next 5 years. They're very generic and overarching. Is that still, do these still seem reasonable, or is there anything you can think of that you don't see addressed in terms of mitigating hazards for your town? Do you have a capital improvement plan?
What?
Do you have a capital improvement plan? Is that a relevant document for your town?
We have a capital budget.
Okay. Do you incorporate mitigation into that budget? Do you have a mitigation fund?
No.
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 Is that something that you would want to develop? Is some towns have like a fund where they put money into mitigation as a way to save for when projects, they have mitigation projects that they want to.
We've discussed this with Lee a little. So regarding the structures fund that we have, is that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we have a structures fund for, pretty much what that lists.
Okay, so would that be a more, should we say that into the, should we say just the capital budget? Would that be adequate, or should we say the structures fund? Or should we not say it at all?
It's two
Two
different
different
things.
It's two different things.
The structures fund is within the capital budget though, right?
No, it's its own separate entity.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Only there is a capital
No.
budget, per se.
So do you
Yes.
wanna not, we could just eliminate this if that would be more correct?
Yeah, I think that would be more correct if we eliminated it.
Yeah,
Right.
because for our purposes, capital is equipment,
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
not structures and not roads. and-
Right.
That's why you-
Exactly.
Alright,
You could add structures fund.
Right.
That's,
That would be more appropriate.
Right, that's what you should do right there.
Right.
Okay. All right, and then I'm gonna change that to local emergency management plan instead of BEOP, which is not an acronym we use anymore. Okay. Anything else? Any other changes to the goals? And that's totally fine if you don't have any. It seems good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then I wanted to ask you if there. So again, a reminder to fill out the actions table, and if I can have that back prior to the 13th of December, prior to that meeting, like a couple of days prior, so I can take a look at that. That would be handy. And I'll email that out in a more printable format. But you can just send it back with an Excel doc. It doesn't need to be. Or if it's easier for you to print it, you can just, scan it and email it to me as a marked up, written on thing. I don't care, The other things I want to ask about, is there any development that's taken place in the last 5 years that should be noted in this plan?
I can't think of any.
No.
How many homes, new structures, et cetera, has been built in Dummerston in the last 5 years? About, has it been just a couple or here and there? Or
15,
15?
Yeah, so say a dozen or so, yeah.
Okay.
3 a year.
But they're all in different areas.
Are they just homes on private land?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any rise or change in vulnerability or concern about resiliency? Any changes that have occurred, or do you feel like you're more resilient because you've been doing a lot of work in infrastructure over the last 5 years?
Yeah, we're getting
You feel like you're
Yeah.
becoming more resilient?
Yeah. It's slow though, it's not.
Yeah. Yep, it's a process. Is the most vulnerable thing about your town your infrastructure, your roads and your structures, your built bridges and culverts?
I would say yes, but I'm kind of maybe
Yeah.
partial.
Yeah.
We'll back you up this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Transportation most vulnerable. Okay. All right. Well, that's really what I had to kind of ask you guys about. Again, on the 13th, when we meet virtually, we'll be discussing mitigation actions primarily. So they will focus on the hazards that we've chosen to address tonight, and whatever actions we still want to maintain from your prior plan. So please, if you would participate in that. As well, I think I'm going to try and put out a public survey on your website. I'll work with Lori to get that out there. And that way we can have some public input. So if you can please spread the word on that, that it'll soon be out there for release. And just if you can attend the meeting, that's really great. It'll be on Zoom, so it should be easy. And then review the plan whenever I have it back to you. That's really what's the biggest
Okay.
input items that I need from you all. So,
All right.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Alyssa.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right. Have a good night.
Back up a little bit.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Alyssa.
Yeah. thank
Go
you.
ahead with our meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's hold off on ARPA while we have Lee here, and we could have some road performance.
Right, we can, yep, we can do that.
Mind? So, Lee,
Okay.
what's going on?
All right, so the FEMA update, you saw with the last bill coming in, the guardrail was installed. So, that is complete. And is that category C where the?
Category Z, the Charlotte's
Z?
Z.
Okay,
She's working on that and her goal is to have, that's all the admin costs, to have that in on or before the 30th of the month.
yeah, that's sort of what she.
So it'll go up to the state and then once that's done, it's considered closed and then we wait for payment.
Okay.
Okay, and that was for Camp Arden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's camera. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So overall, that project, I believe turned out really well. And for the price, I think I think we got a good deal personally, but, yeah. it was good. So the bridge report, so they mentioned the guardrails. They've mentioned that before in the past. It just seems like they stressed it a little bit more, maybe in this one. If we want to put guardrails on the bridge, I can get a price. Estimate, I'm thinking, 10,000 to, maybe 15, but, they're recommendations. It's
We're not required to.
Right. Right. And that's where we've kind of gone with it before. Granted, some of the locust posts aren't as good as they used to be. So we could, put a few more in. Haven't really been replacing them all, because of the mowing, we can mow around it and maintain it a lot better if they're not there. But where they're really necessary, we have been putting them in. It's just a matter of if we want the certified or state ban rail.
And this was,
The two bridges down below
Schoolhouse.
Grange Hall Hill and then Schoolhouse Road, yes.
So we'd have to pay for them, would we?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right, the structures fund money, I believe might pay for it, but we're far down on the list and we need it for Lemon Road and different ones.
Yeah.
so, the question is this a, safety issue? And
Right. The one at the bottom of Grange Hall Hill, I think there's been one car going straight, just for whatever reason didn't turn.
Yeah.
And they drove off, in that one spot. They're, down by the Schoolhouse Road. One, I would say, going from the north to the south, the left-hand fan rail would be the one that would get hit. But here again, it's 25-mile-an-hour zone. You're turning off from one road, turning on to another. We haven't had any issues there. So
better be going into the field rather than crashing into guardrails.
right, and then that comes a problem too. Is every time,
You put it in, yeah.
right? There's going to be a fairly good expense for
replace
those
them.
people who just, They usually go 10 feet off the road, where they hit the wooden post and it stops them.
So
But
can
with
you,
band rail, it will definitely be, and it's something that we really can't do ourselves. I'm sure we could do something with them, but straightening them and those kind of things.
so is there any of the locust posts that you could replace with some locust posts?
Right, we could put in a few more. I think they mentioned in there's some of them are more rotted now.
Maybe that might be the way to go.
Yeah, it seems like a,
Yeah, thank you, Alyssa.
Thank you.
yeah.
Right. I think for the most part, it's people who are totally, speeding, and aren't paying attention or something, because it's coming onto the bridge. You can't come onto it more than
Yeah.
25 miles an hour, and right. But it is something that if we wanted to put money in the guardrails, a couple of structures came up last year on Middle Road, where we just had markers guiding people.
Perhaps this isn't a hot priority.
Right. I think there's money better spent.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of,
That's what I was thinking, maybe just replacing some locust with
Yeah.
locust.
yeah. I guess that's what I would do. You know what I mean? I
Can you get the
don't want it.
locust?
I don't really care for band rail and all those kind of things, but
Yeah, can you get,
Can you get the locust?
what can we get it?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
okay, there we go. I think, yeah, because we know it'll last a while.
100 years.
yes,
It's just on any new structure, when you go for a grant, you have to, it has to be up to speed
Right.
at the end to get the funding. So most of our band rail, or pretty much all of it, is on structures
right.
that we've got grants for.
I guess when they replace that structure, we could,
We could have to put band rail on it to
Yeah.
get it
Right,
up
maybe
to
do
code.
the bridge.
Right,
Yeah.
but for right now, we can
do some locust.
do some locust.
Yeah,
Okay. So the new truck, the 1 ton, we did bring it up to Viking to get its back body put on. They haven't really said when it might be ready, but. And then to go along with that, I take it, I kind of thought that we'd have like a month after we got the truck to sell the other one, as long as we're in the same year. Is that how we'd like to try to do that? I think it'd work fine.
Yeah,
Okay, all right, I just didn't, there might be some, as far as putting it out in the paper and those kind of things. And then if anyone has any ideas on how we should advertise it, just let me know and we can go over them. Because I'm not quite sure if we should try to put it out to bid with a minimum, or if we should just set a price, somebody set a price, and, first come, first serve type thing. Okay, so the state did finally approve us for the grant and aid for 2023. And that's working on Black Mountain Road, Dutton Farm Road, and Kipling Road near the Scott Farm, trying to mitigate the water as far as stone line ditches, grass line ditches, new culverts. We might do a culvert or two this fall, but it looks pretty cold. It's gonna be freezing up, I think. And then we've been doing the grading. We're in pretty good shape. Maybe a couple roads that I'd like to try to get done. We're still making sand for next year when we can. And the storm, I should have slept another couple hours.
Yeah, that's a fizzler. Yeah.
Right.
But it was good. We did end up putting out plows on everything and getting them ready yesterday. Yeah, we just started fluid filling the trucks. And so far everything's working, so it's no repairs.
Little test run.
Yeah.
Before the actual
oh,
thing
yeah. It
happens.
wasn't bad at all. So,
Yeah.
it's good. Other than that, unless somebody else has something,
Can't think of anything.
well, I did see an email about the, and it might have been even to Lori, I saw it, but anyways, it was, about the next meeting with the insurance.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have
So-
we'll talk about it, but,
The 30th, she wanted to come in at 5:30.
Yeah, 5:15.
Okay.
Just to go over it, just to make sure everybody's on the same page.
All right.
Because
Because I had just heard that if we were satisfied with it, then
Yeah.
don't worry about coming in, so I guess that's kind of how
I don't know, you can come in. We can-
Yeah, we can come in.
It's 5:30?
Yes.
5:30, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. I think it's worth talking over again.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right, okay.
just to say,
You know,
yeah.
once every couple of years, you know.
Yeah, it's almost good, you know, I mean, it's, you know, we just don't rubber stamp everything, you know, might
It's
be-
still, it's just, yeah, everything goes up, that's for sure.
yeah.
Okay. All right, guys, have a good night.
Hey, thanks a lot, Lee.
Well, let's see. Is there anything under correspondence for, oh, wait.
What?
Do some ARPA?
Well, we can just do it under the ARPA updates and discussion, because we've already got the funding.
Yeah, all right, then, anything under correspondence for information you'd like to go over?
The Isha Williams request to increase the farmland by $1,000. Is that something we'll talk about in the budget session?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay, moving on. Nothing under correspondence for discussion or action. That brings us to new business with the ARPA updates. And we have a request from Green Mountain Girls Camp.
Right.
So,
So we got two things on the ARPA. One, the Green Mountain Girls Camp, and the other one was on the rec board regarding the ice rink. Charlotte's tried to contact Maeve a couple times the last 3 weeks to determine, because when she sent her the notice or whatever, how much it was, there's two different prices. And she has not heard back to confirm what the price is, so she can't do the check. But the question is, based on these emails we're getting out in the waves about trying to get volunteers, I thought I would now take it off Charlotte's hands and ask Maeve if, one, she could give us confirm the price, or two, is this a situation where they're not going to get the volunteers and would like to hold it until next year? Or three, are they figuring this is a done, they're not going to be able to do it, and asked to formally withdraw that thing. So I think I'll send her an email.
right, yeah, we need more
Yeah.
information.
Yeah, definitely more.
Great.
And did you see the request from Green Mountain Camp regarding the director's house?
House, $100,000.
$100,000.
That would be 20% of the ARPA. funds,
Yes.
Actually, yeah.
I mean,
It's a lot going to one project, isn't it?
that is when we're still, we've spent about 180 some odd thousand, I think, right now, or it's been obligated. We know we still got stuff coming to the town office, so we well over close to that halfway point. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think it's a lot. I guess my concern is too, is we give them tax exempt status every year too, and this year we've been 7,100 is what they don't pay in taxes this current year. So I mean, I don't know. I just think I hate to put our eggs in all in one basket right now.
And one of my thoughts was that I know that they're based here in Dummerston, but they're not exclusive to just Dummerston girls. It's
Yeah.
much beyond. Even beyond New England. I mean, there's
Yeah.
girls that come here. So I guess one of my questions would be for them if they, were serious about this, or have they contacted other towns requesting money? Have they done any fundraising on their own to try to come up with any money?
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of money to ask.
Yeah. Well,
That-
They did have a fundraising list last year to raise money for solar panels.
Mhm.
Actually,
Yeah.
it was a successful raise.
Yeah.
right, and they were thinking this, if they rebuilt this house, or it would be 300,000. So apparently they've got the 200,000 they need. But maybe we should just ask them to come in and
That might be a good idea.
give us a little
Yeah,
more detail. And, maybe answer the question you have.
right.
But,
Generally speaking, I'd like to see an array of opportunities for investment of these very special funds, and to feel comfortable that that is the best use of those monies. $100,000 to a project that has some questions about it, I think is a lot. So
Yeah.
we definitely want to think carefully about it.
Yes.
And I think all the other projects that we've obligated to or have already paid for have benefited multiple taxpayers around town.
Yeah.
Or it's helped improve infrastructure or town buildings where this is not really a town entity and it's not exclusive to just Dummerston residents either.
Yeah, that has kind of been our our modus operandi.
Exactly,
To
yes.
benefit the
Exactly.
Yes.
the taxpayers. Yeah.
Gain the most out of it.
Yes.
Yeah, for the most benefit. Yeah.
yeah, so it's
Yeah.
a big chunk to ask.
It is.
So
Ask for.
let's I could invite them. What do we have going next?
Well, we got Lori coming in at 5:30, or the town,
Yeah.
town employees.
Okay.
We don't have a Zoom meeting until December 13th, so it'd be the 30th. I mean, we could bring him in for the 30th.
Okay.
Do we have anything else?
Okay. Okay, let's see if they are available.
Okay.
And if not, we'll schedule another time for them. Great, and I'll send them a note.
Okay. And the fire department got their doors in.
Really?
Yes, and
Right.
I watched them put them up, and I can tell just from my vantage point, they are a lot tighter than the old ones.
Okay,
So
good,
they look good.
great. Okay. Okay, so we're going to check with Maeve on the ice rink. and
Yeah, I'll email her.
we'll try to get some more information from Green Mountain Camp. Ready to move on?
Ready to move on.
Okay, Conservation Commission, they'd like to set up a conservation station, sort of like those books, the free
Yeah.
libraries that are around. And they would like to put it someplace on town property. They checked with Roger, our zoning administrator, on that. And they were looking whether we had any guidance or wisdom that we could.
It's too bad Lee's left already because he would be the one to
Right,
ask.
yes.
Right.
no,
Because, that would depend on where they put it.
Yeah.
Where they plow.
I
Yeah.
suggested to them that they talk with Lee.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
say that's,
Snow plowing would be,
and mowing too.
Yeah.
yeah, so,
I think Lee's probably the,
Better one to ask where that would be a good place.
yeah,
Yep.
so I can get back to them and just let them know that it's our consensus that Lee is the guy.
Lee is the guy to do it, yes.
And
No sense taking a load of snow on it.
But the concept of having one, I think is good. I mean,
Yeah, I don't have the, it's just where to park it.
right.
Yeah.
right, I was thinking, there's the oak tree that is by the town parking, the town
Yeah.
office
Yeah.
parking. But I was thinking that would probably get snowed in.
It would.
From the parking lot and the road, so
Yeah.
not accessible.
They get hit both sides, yeah.
All right, well, any other new business?
The errors and omission and who, and the,
omission, right.
and the town report. We were gonna discuss that.
Okay, we have errors and omissions, 2 from the listers. What would you like to do?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2 errors and omissions from the listers.
Okay.
Awesome.
Right. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. 2 sets of signatures. Okay, and town report.
Town report.
Let's see. Want to do? I'm thinking of a number, and
How about a letter and it begins with D?
okay.
David, would you like to do the town report because you did such a good job last year? I'll do the next views.
The town report, what, that's for what? What is that
Oh,
for?
in the town report, there's just a section. It's really like the views, just an overview.
Oh, the town report for April, for the
March.
For March,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah, I'll take a look at the old town reports.
You did
I'll
it.
create-
You
I'll
did
get-
it last year, I think, yeah.
Just
Yeah,
It just kind of recall, yeah.
yeah, I'll do it.
probably you can just send that in again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I talked about FEMA and everything. I mean,
Oh, great.
yeah. But that's I think it's due December 15th. We just got an email this afternoon from the auditors.
Okay, December 15th.
December 15th. And I'll pick up the next views.
Okay.
What is the 16th? Okay. Great, well, all right then. We don't have any liquor commission yet.
No,
Any other new business?
I don't know if this is appropriate for this session, but I came, I was asked by a member of the select board of Guilford what our stipend was for our select board members. And they were doing a survey to see what towns in our area were paying. And I told him what we paid for $500. And I asked, will you send me the results? And I have those results here, if you'd like to. I made a copy actually for everybody. Just as a matter of interest, and my understanding is that the stipend for the select board hasn't been increased for forever, and we are about 1/3 of 40% of the average of all of the other towns.
Well, I think we hold a distinction in the state.
yes, we do. I think we're the lowest paid.
Yeah.
We're one next to free.
So one thing in the budget process, we might consider this and increasing the budget.
I think we've already, in the past, we've, not really given it any consideration.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Wow.
all right, good. Well, something to think about.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any other new business?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Second.
Okay, great.